Hi, today I was having a conversation with one of my colleagues, and she's asking me where I went on holiday because I was off on annual leave last week. And she says to me, so I said I went to Morocco, to Marrakesh. And her first question was, do you know anybody in Morocco who lives in Morocco? So I'm like, no, I went on holiday to Morocco, to Marrakesh. And she says, like, oh, I don't think that's a tourist destination. I'm like, I've been to Morocco so many other times, and there's a lot of flights that leave East Midlands Airport going to Marrakesh, Agadir, um, any of the Moroccan cities. Um, the, and it's literally a flight every hour, and a Ryanair flight, and then there's also EasyJet from Manchester. There's like flights from every airport going to Morocco, and I was like, what are you talking about? And then she's like, well, I don't think that's where people usually go on holiday. And she was like having an attitude about it. And then I thought to and this is the funny thing. Another guy who was sitting next to me, another colleague, says, "Yeah, I've been to Agadir, I've been to Marrakesh a few times as well in my life. I even went with children to, I think he went to Casablanca with his children to like one of those places like like tourism, a place that's designed just designated for tourists, a type of thing. And then she's like, really? With such a surprise? Like, really? And I'm looking and I'm thinking, okay, have you got any more comments about my choice of holiday? Because obviously to you, it's like, oh, it's either a poor destination. To me, it is one, it's my holiday. I go to work every day. I get paid. So it's not like I'm borrowing money from you to go on my holiday. Two, I'm an adult. I can go anywhere I wish to go. Like I'm an adult. I don't need like your approval. I don't need anybody's approval to go on holiday, regardless of where I go to. As long as it's safe, I can do my own research. I don't need somebody to like tell me, oh, don't go to this place because it's not safe, or go to this place because it's safe. No, I go where I'm an adult. I can make my own decisions. And she then says, "Oh, I wouldn't go there." That was like her final, like, and I was like, seriously, people are so critical. It's not critical. It's just, I think it's just jealousy, because this is, mind you, this is a person that probably only until I shouldn't really be talking about this, just in case they end up watching this video at some point. But anyway, never mind about that. So I'm not going to carry on that conversation. I'm not one person to cause any problems for myself or for anybody else. But in terms of holidays, I went to Marrakesh. I've been to Marrakesh before. At this time of year, it wasn't as warm as the last time I went. The last time I went, I think last time was like in October, and this time it was in February. So it's not as, the weather was different, but I just needed some peace. I just wanted to go somewhere, sit at the pool, and do, because Marrakesh doesn't have the seaside, but you wake up in the morning, there's like a big market. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Newtown. Or Old Town, but it's a huge market. So you go there, you can actually get lost with the amount of people. It's almost like being at Carnival, at Notting Hill Carnival, the amount of people. But that's every day. And these are not just the tourists, these are the locals, because this is their local market. So if I go there and I want to, obviously I'm not buying food to cook, but there's like food to cook, and there's like snake people like playing with these snakes, and people, oh my God, that was a scary one, where they're like, okay, I'm not gonna even think about it. But it's like a snake display where a person's playing with a snake, and it is too scary to even, like, I'm like, there's like 5 or 6 of these people doing the exact same thing about the snake, the tricks with the snake, and doing this with the snake, telling people, do you want to do this? And I'm like, I would not be going anywhere close to that snake. I don't care what you say, whether you think that snake is not going to bite me or whatever. What if the snake, it's so busy at the market? What if the snake decides I've had enough and decides to like slither away? I'm like thinking this is the most unsafe thing to do. But the things that I go to, like, depending, whatever destination I decide to go on holiday, I've been to like so many different places. I go there for a reason. And sometimes I just go on Ryanair, EasyJet, or Skyscanner, or whatever, and find the cheapest destination that's not going to take me 5 hours to fly to, or Marrakesh is 2.5, 3 hours down the road. So for me, all I'm doing is just driving to the airport. So that's that. A destination for a holiday is not dependent on how another person decides whether that place is a place that they would go or not go. Because otherwise, all these destinations people would never even go to, because you'll be thinking, nobody else has ever been there. Why would I go there? But that's life. You live your life to discover. You live your life, you discover different things. And the only way you can discover, or even open your mind and allow yourself to see different experiences, allow yourself to see different, cultures. It's like Morocco is so, you've got parts which are so Spanish or so European, and parts that are so Moroccan, I would say. But it's such a diverse cultural experience. When you're at the market, you're like, oh my God, how many spices can I take with me, or how much even though I hardly I hardly buy that many things, but I love the experience. I buy the food, I go to the market, they've got like all these eating spaces where you can go upstairs. There'll be a guy downstairs, so there's always a guy downstairs with like a sign to say £3 or $5 or £5 for a meal or whatever it is. And then you say, okay, I'll come in, and you think you're just going straight in, but no, you go up an alleyway, up, down, upstairs, and then you go, and then you end up like on like a rooftop of some sort, quite nicely done. But downstairs, it's not. I think downstairs is mostly just markety things. But when you go upstairs, you can have your food, whatever food that you want, and most of them will sell you bottled water. So you've got everything that you would get from a high end a type of restaurant as well. Obviously, the food is more traditional food. They will sell you just mostly traditional food if you go to the restaurant that's by the market. But there's obviously other restaurants that you can go to, and there's also the KFCs, the Pizza Huts, the McDonald's, just the basic places that if you're just on the move and you just want something quick and grab and go type thing, you go to. But otherwise, for the experience, for the experience, I would go to like where the normal or where the the citizens of that country are, because otherwise, how am I ever going to say I went to a country and all I did was hang out at the hotel with people who I flew down with? Do you get what I mean? There's nothing, I'm not learning anything. I'm actually just, I might as well just have stayed back home. So I always try, wherever I go, I always try to mingle with the local community. But at this point, because it wasn't so hot, which was a really good thing, because when it's hot, they've got these horses, they've got horses that carry, like tourists or whatever oh, I suppose maybe local people also go on a horse if they, it's like a horse, what they do in New York, where you get on a buggy at the back and somebody talks to you about, this is what's happened. This is, just giving you tourist information, but you do like a 25, 30-minute horse ride type of thing. But the horses drop their droppings in the street, which is one thing that I think they clean them up, but where it just smells of horse, horse horse poo, and it does not, it's not good. That's in the summer. But that's not everywhere. It's only just they aim, like there's an area where there's a lot of hotels, so that's where they all wait. So the horses, the horses and the riders all wait there, and then a customer, it's almost like getting a taxi. So you take, they are like in a queue, and if a customer comes, the first person there, they get, you go on a ride, and it's so civilized. It's such a civilized experience. But I have not gone on a horse ride. Just the smell itself is just what stops me from doing it. A lot of people go to the desert and they go on like hot air balloons, or go on any, the things that you go you do in the desert, like go on dirt bike rides, things like that. But I just, when I'm a tourist, I'm more like a cultural tourist, I would say. I like to enjoy the culture. I like to enjoy the people. I like to feel like I belong in a way. Because every time I go somewhere, I always go and eat where the locals go to eat, or go and buy things where the locals go to buy their products, because that's the only way you can understand other people's cultures, and that's the only way you can actually appreciate other people's cultures. So a lot of people are very close-minded in a way, where they feel like, why do I need to know what they do? What do I need to know? Why would I want to go to Morocco? I would never want to go there, type of thing, because it's not a place where you just sit at the hotel, sip on your margarita, and spend your 10 days of holiday just in one spot, having breakfast, lunch and dinner at the hotel, and alcohol all at the hotel. It's some people do that, but maybe that's what they like. I don't have a problem with anybody doing whatever they want to do. But it's almost similar. We were, at least in Morocco, you can kind of like speak English, everybody speaks English. So that's not a problem. Every time I go to like Spain or Portugal or whatever, and I always, or even in France is easy. You always try and like go at a hotel. Obviously the hotels, whatever hotels you find, is within like a local community, not a hotel that is at a tourist type of villa place. And then you wake up. I was like, oh my God, because in Portugal, you have to say, when you say thank you and whatnot. And I was saying it wrong the whole time. Oh God, it is so embarrassing. But you. You learn how to speak to say the language, and then by the time you're actually communicating with the person, you have absolutely no clue what the person's just said. So it's a good thing these days there's all the self checkout, because that way, if a person, like the person at the till, if they say, would you like a bag, but they don't say it in English, they're saying it in their language, but you're like, did they ask me if I wanted to pay by card, or did they ask me if I wanted a bag? Did they ask me if I wanted something else? So do what did they ask me? So now self checkout, you go to the supermarket, you get what you need. It's easy enough because you can, even if the products are in a different language from the language that I would normally be able to understand. But you can see if you want a biscuit looks like a biscuit, regardless of what packaging is on it, it's still a biscuit. If you want a drink is still a drink, regardless of what packaging, what language is on the packaging. So most of these things, and self-checkout is one of the easiest and the best invention when people go abroad. So maybe even when you are like, when you get out of the airport, you go into like the train or the tram or the bus or whatever. So most of the times you get to the airport and you get yourself one of those tickets, like a ticket that gives you like 10 days or 10 trips or whatever it is. That way you're not asking any questions to anybody. And you've got your phone as well for directions. So, these days you can go anywhere. We were in Iceland the other time. We went to Iceland, and I was like, even though the most of the people in Iceland were speaking in English, and it was cold as well in Iceland. It was absolutely cold, but didn't feel like it when you were in the hotel, because they had, like, I don't know how much all of these places, how much their electricity bills are, but you walk in, you like, oh, we're already in summer, but there's snow everywhere outside. But you go to the shop, and most of the shops in Iceland, like in Iceland itself, they sell products, like they will have a section that says Belgian products and United Kingdom products, or Switzerland products, or German products, whatever it is. And the thing is, all you just want is, if you want tea bags, you just go and find a tea bag that you fancy. But in a place like Iceland, most of the shops will be selling the products that you already know. So it's a little bit different from going to a place in Marrakesh, or a place in Faro in Portugal or Spain, where even though the products look sort of similar, but they won't be the identical product that you already know. So I even remember when I was going to Iceland, and some people were asking me, "Oh, it's cold. It's cold. Why would you go somewhere cold?" Well, I go to places that are warm. I go to places that are cold. That's the experience. How can I ever say what's the point of going to Iceland when the weather is hot? I doubt they have, like, it gets very, very hot, but it was so cold, but it was amazing. And that's where the experience, because I'm like, I had the most amazing time there, because you are experiencing something different, something you've not experienced before. You get out, right? We get out of the airport, we get into a taxi, and we say to that taxi driver, this is the hotel. reliant only on the taxi driver, right? Whether he's going to take us to the right place or not take us to the right place, because you cannot see a single thing. The flight arrived. So the flight was a morning flight, arrived at about 11 or something like that. Yeah, it was a morning flight, arrived at about 11. And, oh no, was it a morning flight? It was a 1 o'clock arrived. It was like 2 hours or so or less to get to Iceland flew from Manchester. But it was dark. It was dark and there was a lot of mist. I don't know whether you'd call it mist, but it's snow that's nicely coming down. But it was, once you're out of the taxi, you got changed, you're so warm. And then we got outside. We just like, you know what? This is an experience that you came to have an experience with. So you do go to get the experience. Because what's the point of me saying, oh, I'm going to Iceland, and then I stay in my hotel because it's too cold outside? But it wasn't that cold because you just dress appropriately. You just wear the right, obviously, we came all prepared. So I've got like my gloves, my thermal, everything thermal, hat. The mouth was all covered, everything up to here. Nothing was showing, not even a single part, except for obviously the eyes. I think I even broke my glasses because I was trying to use my glasses as a barrier for my eyes. But I think the wind, because it gets so windy, because they're so close to the sea, or where we were rather, is so close to the sea. So the sea is basically like it blows and it's pulling. If you go anywhere close to where it is, it pulls you. It felt like the wind was pulling you. You know how the waves, when you are at the seaside and the waves come and then they go back out. So that's how the wind felt. It was that hard in terms of the wind felt like a wave. It would pull you, and if you don't hold on to anything, it's not like you can't see the wind, but you can feel it pulling you towards the sea. And I'm like, you can even see all these flying objects just going towards the sea. And you're like, oh my God, every time you feel like you're being pulled, grab onto something because otherwise you end up in the sea. Obviously, there's barriers. You're not really going to end up in the sea, but it kind of like makes you feel like you can't control how you move. So you're kind of like trying to balance yourself while you're walking, so that the wind doesn't pull you. But it was one of the most amazing experiences. And that was the first time I've ever been to Iceland, but that is one of the best experience that I've actually had on holiday, because it wasn't the sun, because I got to so many places just for the sunshine. This was a totally like a different experience from the sunshine. So, and it was amazing. All the things that we got to do, all the pictures. We Even though we were eating, there was this place that we were going to have food. The people were just so nice. It was almost like they wanted us to come. You go to other European destinations and you feel like, oh my God, tourists, please go back where you came from, type of thing. They literally treated us like, are you coming tomorrow? This is so special, type thing. It was just we felt, because I was kind of afraid to say, oh, okay, Iceland, is it going to be, how am I going to feel? But it was really, really, really one of the nicest experiences holiday experiences. Obviously, every time I go on holiday, I'll probably say the same thing. But it was really nice, and I'm hoping that I could, because it's so close. It's actually closer than you think, because from Manchester, I think it was 2 hours. I'm so sure it was 2 hours. It's like, it's unfortunate that they don't have the sunshine, but they've got the snow. So, you only just, where you go, when you go to a warm destination, you buy dresses. When you go to a cold destination, you buy thermals, and you just still enjoy the experience. So, yeah, that was, I just started off talking about my colleague who was just criticizing my choice of holiday destination. But I will go where I need to go to, or not need. I'll go because I'm an adult. I get paid. I work. I don't steal the money, so I can do whatever I like with my money or my life, or I can go anywhere on holiday that I wish to go to. So that was the intention of this video. But yeah, well, next time. Bye.